We want to move on to another very important story, and that is, well, it's a number of kind of interlocking stories there. Political corruption, cryptocurrency, and the intersection, perhaps, of those two things. And we are super, super honored to be joined here on the show by Jacob Silverman, who's been writing a lot of great pieces about crypto and political corruption, and also is the author of the forthcoming book, Gilded Rage, Elon Musk, and the Radicalization of Silicon Valley. I'm definitely going to be reading that. Jacob, thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Well, really great to have you, and there's so much to dig into here on a number of different fronts. And I think where I want to start, and the whole sort of piece about cryptocurrency and a lot of what's happening with the deregulation around it, is I think the way a lot of people look at, like, quote unquote regulation is that, it's good to regulate things that are bad, and, things that are fine, we should deregulate them. But I think crypto is in this sort of space where a lot of people are like, oh, well, it's this great new store of value. It's like buying gold or something like that, or whatever it may be. So I wanted to kind of start there. Like, is cryptocurrency and the sort of rise of cryptocurrency something people should actually be concerned about in terms of our need to look at it more deeply and regulate it?
Yeah, and I would say that's something we've learned from experience over the last decade or more. I mean, I wrote about a previous crypto crash in 2022 when FTX and Sam Bankman-Fried's company fell apart, and there were other multi-billion-dollar frauds, and a lot of regular people lost money because they were sort of taught to believe in the speculative market through a lot of celebrity ads and powerful people saying that crypto was the future. And ultimately, when the bottom fell out of this market, because a lot of it was fraudulent, it hurt regular consumers. And I thought we'd have a longer time before reinflating that bubble and a lot of it coming back again. But of course, it happened very quickly, as things tend to in crypto. The bubble reinflated. You had the cryptocurrency industry completely aligning with the Republican Party and putting forth more than $200 million to re-elect Donald Trump in 2024. So, this is not just kind of some speculative gambling market. I would actually argue that crypto in many ways is more of a predatory financial scheme, like payday loans. I mean, that's how I think we have to think of it. And now it's underwriting probably the biggest act of financial corruption in presidential history in the case of Trump's many crypto interests. So to me, it's a bigger deal than ever in that its malign effects, its potential for harm is greater than ever. At the same time, I think a lot of everyday people, fortunately, aren't as interested in crypto anymore. It's actually powerful actors in business and government, I think, who are pushing crypto on the rest of us now.
Well, that's a great point, because it does lead us, as you said, to President Donald Trump. I mean, he seems to be right at the center of certainly the deregulatory policies, but also making quite a bit of money. I mean, I almost don't even know how to talk about it, because honestly, having read some of your pieces, I thought I knew, and it's actually deeper than I thought it was. I mean, Trump stands to make a huge amount of money from the policies he's putting in place, and it seems like he's pretty openly opening the door and saying, hey, if you want an intro into my office, this is the way.
Yeah, Trump has several different vehicles basically for earning money through crypto. World Liberty Financial, which was co-founded by Trump's sons, Steve Witkoff's sons. Trump had a title there, is probably the most important. That's the one that issues this World Liberty Financial token, also this USD1 stablecoin. Then you have the meme coins, which is through another venture with another friend of Trump's. But the basic point is that he has his hand in many pots. And anyone who wants to enrich Trump, whether he asks for it or not, can just buy some of these tokens or send money to or send crypto to one of his crypto companies' wallets. And I imagine this is happening, and we know this is happening already with people making 8-figure, 9-figure deals with Trump. But I imagine this is happening on an even greater stage. If you are a foreign leader pretty much anywhere in the world, it is in your direct interest to put some money in Trump's pocket. I mean, this isn't even a moral issue that we're talking about here. From a kind of realpolitik perspective, this is also the language that Trump speaks and is familiar with. So there's obviously no mechanisms really for enforcement anymore, or anyone around to enforce the law, or we're way past worrying about the emoluments clause and people and foreign countries renting rooms at Trump Hotel. the potential here is huge, like billions and billions of dollars in illicit funds.
And by sort of maybe loosening the reins is even downplaying it around the cryptocurrency industry. I mean, it creates so many ripple effects on multiple different fronts. I mean, he's also dismantling the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, which people could report some of these companies to. But it feels like, by essentially eliminating the regulations, anyone involved in crypto in any way, shape, or form exposed to it is at a much greater risk. So I was hoping you could talk a little bit about the sort of scale of the deregulatory efforts that they're putting forward here.
Sure. So from day one, Trump has been basically eliminating the rule of law, especially as it relates to financial crimes, high-level corporate crimes. He famously pardoned all the January 6th rioters, but he also pardoned a lot of financial criminals and people who admitted to and confessed to huge acts of fraud. And a number of them were in crypto or in kind of finance or crypto adjacent industries. So from the beginning, I would argue there was sort of a message put out that these kinds of crimes weren't going to be enforced anymore. And then you had the SEC drop some major cases, including after some people put a lot of money into Trump's crypto companies. The DOJ, which enforces the criminal side of things, decide to stop investigating or stop prosecuting some important crypto-related cases. So everywhere you look, the mechanisms of enforcement, whether civil or regulatory or criminal, were being dismantled very consciously, I think, and very much in line with the crypto industry's goals. This isn't, I mean, perhaps there are some knock-on effects for Wall Street, but this is something that really came from the crypto industry and the people around Trump, the venture capitalists and other people involved in the crypto industry, including his sons. And so I would argue that this was a very conscious effort, and it was also one that would, from the beginning, clearly benefit Trump, who was knee-deep in the crypto industry before he even took office.
And I know, Elon Musk, of course, is a big promoter of meme coins. And I mean, what's the maybe relationship here between sort of the crypto industry, the sort of broader drift we see in Silicon Valley? And I know you got the upcoming book, Gilded Rage, Elon Musk and the Radicalization of Silicon Valley. Like this, what we've seen with this sort of right-wing tech move that is now influencing our country in such significant ways.
Well, I think crypto has always been broadly right-wing coded in one way or another, but it was more of a libertarian cypherpunk, like against the state sort of thing, like leave me alone to live my life with my encrypted digital currency. There's been a shift in recent years, and I think I saw it especially at the annual big Bitcoin conference this year in Vegas, where J.D. Vance gave a speech. There are a number of senators and members of Congress, all of them Republican, who appeared, and other appointed officials like David Sachs and Bo Hines. And it was really like this convergence of MAGA and crypto. And what the Republican Party has been able to do by very explicitly aligning itself with crypto has been sort of to take that traditional Republican fake populist anti-government sentiment and make crypto part of that. Somehow buying Bitcoin or even buying Trump coin is like putting up a middle finger to the government. I wouldn't claim that this is a coherent philosophy necessarily or make a lot of sense, but that's where they've channeled, I think, a lot of that instinct, and also by providing all these opportunities for their fans to buy crypto. Whereas a few years ago they might have been selling them timeshares or MLMs or supplements. Now they're encouraging them to get into crypto or various branded crypto products related to their political campaigns or their goals. So that's where you've seen this real convergence of kind of MAGA culture, crypto as a business, and also crypto putting a tremendous amount of money towards its policy goals. And one thing I think is also worth noting is, when this inevitably goes bust, as it generally does, because there aren't great underlying fundamentals here, it's going to be the regular people who decide to buy in, like those everyday MAGA people who, unfortunately believe in this stuff or have bought a lot of Trump meme coins. And when that crashes, or when Trump and his friends cash out on the backs of MAGA speculators, it's going to be a lot of everyday people who suffer, as they do in every kind of MLM or scam like this.
No, it's a great point. And finally, I'll just ask you, I mean, and this is, as you said, like not a hypothetical of the things that have gone bust before. And there's a long record here of financial malfeasance tied to crypto.
That's right. And, we were kind of lucky in 2022 in that when FTX and a bunch of other crypto exchanges went down and you had this great decline in prices. I mean, there were a lot of everyday people hurt, but there wasn't contagion where it spilled over into mainstream finance. One of the other things Trump is doing is he's making it a lot easier for crypto to access mainstream money on Wall Street. Just the other day, he signed an executive order to allow 401ks to more easily invest in crypto. So there are a lot of ways in which, even if you're not interested in crypto, you still might have financial exposure to it through your retirement account, a fund manager, maybe your employer is going to put it on their balance sheet. Like there are a lot of ways in which we're going to have to play by crypto's rules and be exposed to their risk. And I think that's a real problem for a lot of us, and it's one we're going to have to contend with very soon.
Jacob Silverman, author of the forthcoming book, Gilded Rage, Elon Musk and the Radicalization of Silicon Valley. Thank you so much for joining us here on The Freedom Side.
Thank you.